It is a very special pleasure for me to take part in the International Year of Volunteers. At the heart of volunteerism are the ideals of service and solidarity, and the belief that together we can make the world better.
It's a great honor and pleasure.
I'm here on behalf of the Secretary General to salute the volunteers of the world.
It is the tradition that the new conference is rung in by the host country. So here to do the honors today are two very special people who you will get to know very well this week as they co-chair this conference. Now, so that you cannot mistake them, they have decided to adorn themselves in these lovely orange scarves for the week.
Thank you.
Dear friends, I send you my best wishes for this International Year of Volunteers. Volunteers have long been our partners in the United Nations, and new volunteers sum up what the United Nations is all about. You serve tirelessly around the world, teaching children, caring for the old and sick, helping maintain peace and build democracy, and protecting the environment. So I hope this will really be the year that changes the world, as your association called it, and that many more people will join the volunteer movement. Together, we can make this a better world, a world free of poverty and conflict, and a healthy planet for our children to live on. I welcome you all to this exciting World Conference, and I wish you every success.
It's about time. I don't hesitate to say it's about high time.
It is our time. It's time to change. Time to create, as Secretary General Kofi Annan said in his opening remarks, a better and safer world. Thank you so much and have a great year.
Now is the time to make the change. This is the time. This is the year.
Whatever the motivation, volunteering brings forth a pool of energy, time, talent, and compassion that can, we know, change a life, a society, or even the world.
Volunteering is pleasurable because pleasure is volunteering. Dreaming is volunteering because dreams are not meant to be slipped on. It's meant to be achieved. So when we volunteer, it's because we want to accomplish something.
Voluntary sector, in engaging in partnership with governments and business, should always cultivate a healthy dose of skepticism about the motives, be particularly attentive to possibilities of instrumentalization, and never compromise on values and principles.
And clearly, we do need professionals in voluntary organizations too, but again, with the purpose of facilitating voluntary humanitarian action. And this is why it's so important to improve our volunteer management, adapting organizational structures, and upgrading the skill of staff in order to inspire more voluntary action.
Volunteerism is not only behavior that helps others. It is an expression of solidarity. It is an affirmation of our highest ideals as human beings. And that is why all of us, including governments and civil society at every level, must do everything in our power to support it.
No society is complete if it consists only of formal organizations and institutions. I would not prefer to live in an environment where people only do things for others if they get paid for it, where people help others only on a commercial basis. It's precisely informal relationships between people that keep societies together. They make the neighborhoods, the streets, the city a better place to live.
We have had the privilege of observing a great transformation, first in the attitude and the commitment on the part of political leaders and corporate leaders and leaders within the nonprofit sector who have come to understand that service and volunteering is not simply nice. It is, in fact, necessary.
Volunteers provide signals, especially to politicians and governments. And that is why government should not control volunteering organizations, but must facilitate volunteer work and support it in general and specific terms.
The volunteers are not really saving money for governments. To the contrary, we do challenge the governments because we make visible needs that are not met by the public support.
And this is something I would like all of you to remember. We believe that volunteering is sexy. Yeah?
Wow. Volunteering is not sexy enough. Let's put the sex back into volunteering.
My name is Lea Chaya Eckhard, and I come from Israel. I represent my school with my friend Mali. Everyone in my school has to volunteer. We each choose what we want to volunteer for. At first, we didn't like that it's an obligation to volunteer. We made excuses that we didn't have time to volunteer and that we didn't want to. But now, since we have volunteered, we love it. And we want to volunteer as much as we can.
And the message was very clear. They are ready. They want to be active citizens, to participate. They have a lot of ideas, but they are a bit tired of not being taken seriously.
Dear youth volunteers, give me your hands and let's build the world together. Dear adults, join us with your hands, but make sure you have enclosed-in resources that can help us to help others.
I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. What about you? What do I get? I get it all. What do I get? Satisfaction. What do I get? Experience. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. What about you? How? Open your eyes. How? Open your ears. How? Open your mind. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. What about you? Where? I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer. What about you?
Please rise to greet the Queen.
Your Majesty, it's a great honor to have you. Thank you for coming. On Sunday, we spoke of this conference as a gathering of a family, a very large, very diverse family, but one that shares values and aspirations about the potential of human beings to make a difference in this world. We want the first copy of this book, the first to be distributed, to go to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay?
I think that the conference has identified the key challenge for your work. It is building partnerships.
The first challenge I want to raise that faces the global volunteering movement over the coming decades is the need for us to bridge the gap between activism and the world of activism and the world of volunteering. The seventh challenge that I want to respond to is the challenge of maintaining dignity with the people that we work with.
This is the button that, at least symbolically, is going to send electronically, using the new technologies, the Universal Declaration and the global agenda around the world. So if Mary and Adana will join me, are we ready? We're going to push the button.
The flag that will change the world.
I'm very pleased with the global agenda for action that you have just presented. I was eagerly looking forward to the new version of the Universal Volunteers Declaration of the IAVE, and I'm very interested to see what it contains and will read it with great interest.
It is the simple fact that investing in young volunteers today is key to producing good volunteers tomorrow.
The three messages for me were: never underestimate the power of the Olympics to engender the highest level of community goodwill and spirit. Never underestimate the power of a dream. And never underestimate the power of people, especially volunteers.
One of the things that IAVE offers us is to change the very nature of how we are able to project what volunteering means, that it is based on a fundamental respect of every human being that walks on this planet. We should be able to do that in the way that those that see themselves as social activists and do not really like the term volunteering will feel comfortable to come within the fold and advance the agenda.
Only a volunteer. Have you heard that before? That's not acceptable terminology, and it's something we must rid ourselves of. But I suspect it's not uncommon in your organisations as well as ours. I'm a volunteer is acceptable terminology, especially when said with pride. One word less, but a huge attitudinal difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, our ambition was, and our dream is, that this conference will be the start of a global process of rethinking, improving, and innovating volunteering and the role of volunteers in our societies. Only if this conference has contributed to that will we consider it to be a success.
I think this conference would be a success if everybody who leaves from here has a new idea.
I'm not sure I would define this as success, but I think it's very important in these global meetings to be honest.
And you will have noticed that there were a lot of drums in this conference. And they symbolize, in a way, the heartbeat of society, you could say. But may I say, like, volunteers are the heartbeat of their societies. And we started very small, with one young boy beating his drum. And we will finish big, with big Japanese drums. Volunteers will be heard. It was an honor to be your host. Thank you very much. I always wanted to do this.
What is the most important thing in the world? And the answer, it is people, it is people, it is people. Asante, merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, salamat po, shukriya, shukran, danke. Thank you very much for your kind attention.